Welcome back to the Night Shift, your safe space for talking about UFOs, UAPs, NHI, disclosure, drones, and everything else your friends, family, and coworkers are sick and tired of hearing you go on and on about. ET may be able to bend the laws of physics, traverse the vast distances of space, cross dimensions, materialize out of thin air. But you know, I've never heard of an ET plugging into a Marshall stack and riding the lightning the way our own Xander Jones does. And for those of you who think the invasion is imminent, we are going to defeat them with the power of music. Xander, we're going to just start the show with the big news. If you guys are here for the music, Xander's got good news for you. Xander, take it away.
See, I didn't know you were going to say something quite so nice. That was really nice. Thank you so much. So I mentioned it briefly on last week's stream. But yeah, the album is locked in. It is getting released next Friday. Everywhere you could imagine you can listen to it. It will be available, you know, all the regulars, Spotify, Apple, YouTube Music. And yeah, I'll also be making it available for free download. Just, you know, if somebody loves to have the audio files, maybe have an old school MP3 player or something, I don't know. If you want to pre-save the album, you can do that right now. I'll show you, and this is for Spotify users only, I have to say. So we have a pre-save link up here. I'll give this to one of the mods to share. And yeah, effectively, you can just save it to your Spotify account right now. You won't be able to listen to it for another week, but it will be there waiting on release day for you. And as well, if you choose to share your email address with me, we're going to run a competition for everyone that submits their email address. So everyone that enters gets a chance to win a t-shirt with the album artwork on as well. And I'll see what else we can throw in as well.
And it's so good. It's so good. Guys, I've been listening to these tracks for a while. Like as he's working on them, he would be sending them over and he'd be like, what do you think of this? And I'm listening to it. I play this music all the time. Like I'm cleaning the house, I'm walking around, folding laundry. I'm just listening to it constantly. And it's really, really good. So in the full title, did you tell him the full title?
Oh, so yeah, it's Night Shift, a Xander Jones experience.
Night Shift, a Xander Jones experience, Volume 1.
Yeah,
music from the hit series.
And in addition, yeah, as I said, I'll be making it free download. But Clint's encouraged me to say this. I feel a little bit...
I'll say it so you don't have to. You don't want to be awkward.
You're welcome to. Yeah, go ahead.
If you got, like, look, when we started this channel way back when, it was just me and a microphone and a dream. And I didn't think we'd ever get past a few hundred people at most. And it's turned into so much more, and it's become this community. And part of the joy of that has been working with other artists and creative people who have come out of the woodwork to support what we're trying to do here, which is broaden the conversation about UFOs, UAPs, aliens, the future of humanity, if you will. It's big stuff, and sometimes it's tough to get to communicate it all in just language. It takes different forms of art. So when Xander approached me and we started talking about ways we could collaborate, it was just obvious that this guy was a passionate artist, a passionate musician, extremely talented, and his contribution has been enormous. And as we're growing this channel, he puts a lot of time into it and a lot of effort, and the music speaks for itself. When you get to hear it for the first time, it's going to blow your mind. If you care to support what we're doing, you can donate to Xander directly, and he's got a link for that. I don't know if we can put that up. How do people do this if they want to support and hear the next volume of this?
So as I said, this is where you can actually download the whole album. It's not available yet. I have to keep saying it's available next Friday, but yeah, you can basically pay what you want for the album, or you don't have to have the album. You can just tip me whatever you want. As I said, there's no obligation, but as Clint said, they do take time, they do take money to make these things. So, you know, a buck is more than enough. So just you know, if you want to tip, you are more than welcome to, and this is where you will do it.
And I want to add to that too, if I may, just to dovetail off of that. There is so much shitty music in the world, and it's so everywhere, and it sucks. And it's more and more of it every day is being written and created by AI. And I see this across all different mediums of art, and the art world is kind of struggling with this right now. Creators in general are trying to figure out how do you harness AI in a way that's helpful but lets you create something original. And I think that in a world where we're just so overwhelmed with shitty facsimiles of good music and good art, it's important to support actual artists who are putting in the work and who are actually doing it. And I've actually watched Sanders in these recording sessions. Sometimes he'll stream them on the Discord server, which is why you should be on the Discord if you're not already. But he'll just sit there and for hours just work on this stuff, and it's so cool. It's a lot of work, and it's very cool to support an actual artist, and this is a great way to do it. So if you like what we're doing here and you want to help out, please support Xander.
In other news, you've been going nuts, particularly today. You put us on red alert earlier. How dare you?
Well, I said red alert, and then I was like, well, it's actually yellow alert. I looked it up in the manual. It's actually yellow alert, but I'd already changed the bulb, so it's still red alert in my room.
So tell me, what's going on in your world?
Well, the drone situation is out of control. It's out of control. And the fact that it's so out of control and no one's talking about specifics vis-a-vis like the people who should know, the actual federal agencies looking into this, that's a huge red flag. And that's what threw me into yellow alert today, because I really started to sit down and process what this means. And I noticed a few things, particularly with the recent press conferences that are going on. I had this weird feeling. I'm watching the Pentagon press conference, and I'm watching the what was the other one that just happened? I'm just noticing. I had this like sense something about this is just weird. It's like off, and I can't quite figure it out. And there was one clip, and we'll look at this clip in a bit, where a reporter pushes back on Kirby, the spokesperson giving the briefing, John Kirby. And she just says, like, what you're saying makes no sense. I need you to make this make sense for me. And they cut back to him, and the look on his face, it just hit me. Like, this is way serious. And obviously it's serious, right? Clearly. But this is serious in a different way. I think it's serious in a way that we're not really thinking about yet. And I want to take this episode and try to explore that and think about what could it be? Because you have to look at the scope of the reaction and really flesh out from there, like, what could this be? What's making them react the way they're reacting? Because that's what we can actually see. And the options aren't very good. It's not good. So I've been having
limited options at this point.
It's a short list. And I've been having a little minor panic attack today. So, but I'm high anxiety anyway, so don't be alarmed by that. That shouldn't alarm anybody. We'll actually talk about it, and we'll get into some details. I also want to say this up front. We're going to do live call-ins today should we open them up for the whole day or just the last half?
You can open up right now, and throughout the show, we can just pick up and as we go along.
If you are in New Jersey, Staten Island, New York, you've seen these drones or you've seen these lights in the sky, if you have a firsthand account, if you have a recording, a video, if you've heard the sounds that they make, if you've experienced any weirdness around this situation, you go right to the front of the line. If you want to call in today and share what you know with us, I would love to hear from you. So please reach out. You can do that through the Discord server. Just go to the waiting room channel on our Discord server, and we'll get you in to the show today. All right. So there's that. What else is going on? Is there anything else going on right now?
I think a good place to start would be to watch the Pentagon press briefing, because right off the bat, the initial questions you get are always, is it ours or is it a foreign adversary? And this video just throws them out the bath like straight away.
Okay, let's do it. And just read between the lines, people. That's all I can say. Watch this and read between the lines.
Jen.
Sabrina, can you tell me what the Pentagon is doing to address this issue of drone sightings over New Jersey? It's near sensitive installations. The FBI is involved. What is the Pentagon doing?
Sure. So at this time, aware of those drone sightings that have been reported. At this time, we have no evidence that these activities are coming from a foreign entity or the work of an adversary. We're going to continue to monitor what is happening, but, at no point were our installations threatened when this activity was occurring.
Can you rule out that these are American drones or U.S. military drones?
These are not U.S. military drones. Again, this is being investigated by local law enforcement. What our initial assessment here is that these are not drones or activities coming from a foreign entity or adversary.
Representative Jeff Van Drew, who is a Republican from New Jersey, was just on the air saying that Iran launched a mothership probably about a month ago that contains these drones, and that mothership is off the coast of the east coast of the United States. Is there any truth to that?
There is not any truth to that. There is no Iranian ship off the coast of the United States, and there's no so-called mothership launching drones towards the United States.
There we go.
Yeah. Leave her up on the screen for 1 second.
Sure.
Go back. This is the first thought I had when I watched this. Look at look how coordinated the colors are. If you just look at this still frame, like a photograph, look at the color of her dress or her top or whatever, the wall in the background. It's so muted. I'm a photographer. It's one of the things I think about when I look at a picture, or if I am composing a shot, I'm thinking about the color and the composition and everything. It's so muted and calming. It's lavender. Everything's lavender. Everything's chill the fuck out. Like, that's what this says. And she is saying what she's being told to say, and it's really uncomfortable. What's your take?
It's weird that the different spokespeople are just going against each other at this point, depending on what department of the government they're representing.
You notice that too,
I can't
right?
remember who it was. I think it was somebody from New Jersey's I don't know, their local government that maybe said it was Iranian. I can't remember who it was. Maybe somebody in the comment knows.
Oh, it was a congressman, a Republican congressman. I think I've got that clip pulled up over here somewhere. I have to find it.
Okay. But yeah, just to have that cross communication so quickly and so affirmatively as well.
Yeah. And everyone's throwing the ball, but everyone's like passing the buck to everyone else. Local law enforcement, they're handling it. FBI's got this. No, DOJ has, or whatever. DHS has this, or we're working with our partners, spreading the blame around. It's almost like no one wants to get caught holding this thing when it goes off.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got Pell from Germany. I'll bring him into the live call if you're ready.
All right, Pell.
All right, Pell, are you ready? I think he's ready. I'm going to drag him in. All right, here he comes. He should be able to hear you now.
Are you there? Hello, hello.
He may have disappeared for a second. Oh, here we go. Oh, sorry. There we go. Right. You should be able to hear him now.
Can you hear me?
There we go.
Hi. Are you there? Can you hear me?
Hello?
You're live. Hello, hello.
Hello?
You're live. What's your question?
Oh, I don't think he can hear us.
I don't think he can hear us.
My bad, guys. My bad.
We'll circle back.
Hey.
We'll circle back.
How you guys doing?
Can you hear us now?
Hello?
We gotta bail on this.
Yeah,
Sorry, guys.
We'll sort something out. Hold on.
This is still in beta. We're still working the kinks out on this process, but trust us, it's going to get better. So yeah, her press conference was interesting, and then I saw Kirby's press conference. Do you have that one pulled up too?
Yeah, bear with me a second.
We'll do this part first, and then we'll open up for
I'll
calls.
troubleshoot the calls.
Yeah,
this is working.
Cell phones that we're seeing. Basically, with what you're looking at, how can you credibly tell people that there is no public safety threat, there's no national security threat, that there's no reason to believe that a foreign government is involved?
Because the analysis thus far in an investigation that is ongoing has not revealed any national security or malicious intent or criminal activity. But, Jackie, I would remind you, we're at the beginning here, not the end. There's a lot more work to be done, and we're working closely with state and local authorities to gain more information. I would argue that we're moving pretty well here with a sense of energy to try to figure out what we can do to learn more about this. We're still in the middle of an ongoing investigation, and I'm up here explaining to you and let you know what we know so far, what we believe so far. If information comes to light that changes that characterization, then my goodness, we'll be the first ones to let you know. But right now, there's just no indication that this is some sort of foreign malign activity or, in fact, even criminal.
Well, what I don't understand is, this has been happening since late November. I don't know that the law enforcement officials or residents in New York and New Jersey, or even the Democratic senators who wrote to Director Ray Mayorkas and the FAA administrator today would think that this has been handled with a sense of urgency. But that being said, has the President or the Secretary of Defense issued any guidance to NORDCOM or military installations to act on these systems if they're deemed to be a threat in any way? And what's the benchmark for that determination?
So 2 thoughts. First of all, you're right, late November. It is now, the 12th of December. I think it shows that we're moving on with this, and we're going to stay on it. So I want to disabuse you of any notion that we're not taking this seriously, because we are. I can also tell you that if the President, as Commander-in-Chief, believed, based on the information that he'd been given, that there was a national security threat at play here, or even a public safety threat at play here, he would issue the appropriate directives to not only law enforcement, but perhaps even the military if that was needed. I want to go back to something I said at the top. There has been no evidence of any of this activity in or near restricted spaces.
That's not what the senators said in the letter. They said, in fact, that they've been observed maneuvering their critical infrastructure, sensitive locations, including reservoirs and military installations, and cited a concern from law enforcement about public safety threats because a medevac helicopter was prevented from transporting a seriously injured patient for care because of the presence of these drones.
I stand by my opening statement.
Can you make that make more sense? Because I think people in New York and New Jersey see drones the size of an SUV over their house every night and think that that doesn't make any sense.
Certainly I understand why people would be looking at this and being concerned about it. We're concerned about it too, which is why we have the Department of Homeland Security and the FBI, my goodness, looking at this. And we're taking it seriously. We understand that people are concerned. We understand that they got questions. We got questions too. And we're working hard to get the answers to that. What I can tell you as we sit here today, at 2:16 in the afternoon on the 12th, is we haven't seen any indication thus far that there's a public safety risk, and we haven't seen.
Does the government know what they are?
We are still investigating this. I can't tell you definitively. I cannot characterize for you definitively what these sightings are. I can just go back to what I said at the opening. We've looked at the imagery. We can't corroborate some of the reported sightings through our own expert analysis using sophisticated detection techniques, but that doesn't mean that, we're putting our pen down here this afternoon and calling it a day. We're going to keep at this.
What are you doing, though?
We are continuing to investigate it, as I said in my opening statement, 2 federal agencies, as well as the United States Coast Guard, and state and local law enforcement officials, which we are staying in close touch with.
Well, I guess we can all rest easy tonight. They're not going to be putting their pens down anytime soon. If that doesn't make you panic inside, everything about that screams freak out. Like,
He wasn't playing ball, was he?
that is not good. If you had a loved one in the emergency room and a doctor walked out and gave you those kind of and responded to your questions the way he just responded, you wouldn't be thinking
Public servant.
you wouldn't be thinking good thoughts. So what could it be? I have seen so many. Now, this is important to say at the beginning of the show, I think, or at least as close to it as we are. right now is the weirdest time to be in this situation. Something serious is actually really going on. There's no question. Everybody believes that. There's no question this is for real, for real. What it is still up for debate. Some people are saying it's aliens. Some people are saying it's super classified stuff from us. Some people are saying it's super classified stuff from somewhere else. But whatever it is serious enough that all of these federal agencies, everybody is switched on and paying attention to it right now. And they are not telling us. If you believe, now to take him seriously, John Kirby at his word, you've got to believe that the vast $1 trillion military intelligence apparatus of the United States government has no fucking clue what they're looking at. If you believe that, which is plausible, it's plausible. They could be aliens. That's possible. And maybe that's what we're seeing here. Maybe we're seeing the beginnings of the event that everybody's been talking about in the community. They've been saying, oh, something's going to happen. Something's going to happen. And we joke about it on this show a lot because it would be cool to look up and see a gigantic flying saucer for about 5 seconds. And then it would be like, holy shit, this is real. But maybe it's not a gigantic ship. Maybe it starts out like this. I don't know. But that's one possibility. Another possibility is they know exactly what it is. And what it is something they can't tell you about. Because if you knew, you would fucking panic. So you just have to ask yourself, what kinds of things would be on that list? How short would it be? And how many bullet points would be on that list? And if you start down that path, I think you'll get close to whatever's going on right now. And that's where I'm at. I think that's why I'm on yellow alert today. I just, strange things are afoot at the Circle K.
What's the scariest scenario you're imagining in your head right now?
Well, it's tough to say what's the scariest because there's think about it like this. Why aren't they shooting them down? Well, either they are shooting them down and they're not telling us because what they're finding is something that they can't tell us about. That's scary. Or they're not shooting them down because they can't. Either
hey,
they
can
can't.
You hear me?
Oh, I think we got somebody.
It's working. Yay. Sorry.
Hold on. Let me finish this one quick point because
yeah.
I'm halfway through. Either they can't shoot them down because they are impossible to shoot down. They are impervious to our weaponry. Terrifying. Or they can't shoot them down because if they shoot them down, I don't know, maybe a huge area of very densely populated neighborhoods would be contaminated by something. What could contaminate an area that would make it what would you have to do if a dirty bomb went off above New York City? What would that situation, if that, and I'm not saying that's what this is. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that's the scale that this problem in my head, based on my assessment of what I'm seeing, and I am just a regular guy. I don't have any special training, but I'm just looking at this and I'm going, what is it going to take to get this many people this activated and this nervous that no one's taking responsibility for any of this? You notice that? Local law enforcement, our partners, other two federal agencies, they're looking at it. These guys are working on it. We're working, we're synergizing together. We're in discussions. We're looking at it. We're forming a committee. We're studying it. We'll get back to you. Don't panic. Look at his tie. The still frame from that John Kirby president. Look at his fucking tie. What is this? It's beige. It's this light blue. I don't know why I'm so fixated on the colors, but it is like, calm the fuck down color scheme. I don't think that's by accident. Call me crazy. Okay, that's my rant. That's my soapbox. Live caller. Who do we have?
So we have Pell. I hope this is working now.
Pell, are you there? Talk me off the ledge, Pell. I don't know what happened.
I might just have to try a different caller a second.
We may have to try a different caller. We may have to reboot that
I'm
whole
sorry
thing.
about this, guys.
It's okay. It's actually an operator in another room, like plugging things in. It's
Is
a whole
any of this
different-
working? We've got Combat Taxi in live. Ask him if he's here.
Combat Taxi, are you there?
No, must
We
be
think
me,
you're
guys.
live.
Must be me.
Well, it might not be you because it might be radio interference from the UAPs. I'm going to show a clip here. This just, by the way, if you guys really want to start to get weird, take a stroll. Let me invite you to take a stroll on Reddit, on the RUFOB subreddit, because that will make you hyperventilate. Let me see if I can pull this up. So I'm going to share. Oh, God. Okay. I don't know if this is real. This is another thing about this conversation right now. We are in a time where, as I said at the beginning of the show, AI, just generating all kinds of nonsense. The information space right now is very polluted, and we don't know what we know to be real. We don't know what's fake. We don't know what's a psyop. We don't know what's legit. It's very hard to know what we're looking at here. So that's why I'm fixated on the response of the people on television that are giving these answers. I'm looking at what they're doing because it's hard to know when you look at the internet and you're just trying to sift through 1,500 drone sightings on YouTube. It's nonsensical. But a few did leap out from the rest, and this is crazy. So check this out. I'm going to share my Chrome tab here. It is I have too many tabs open. Hold on a second. Okay. This distortion of radio waves clip. Have you guys heard of this? Have you seen this? Here we go. All right, listen to the sound. This is on UFOB, friend of the show, our favorite subreddit, UFOB, distortion of radio waves. It says, are they trying to communicate? I've heard other stories of radio waves being manipulated by people's Alexa, etc. Now listen to this.
What the fuck? Oh my fucking god, I'm freaking out.
I don't know what to make of that, but that's terrifying.
Oh my fucking god, I'm freaking out.
I mean, it sounds like somebody's trolling.
It sounds like someone's trolling. It could be space whales. I don't know. Could be. How do I take this down? Let me stop my screen share. There was that one, and then there was a clip of a light that appears to jump from one point to another point, and then it demonstrates sudden instantaneous acceleration, which is one of the things that I'm looking at also with the drones. Is like, do they demonstrate the 5 observables? Are we seeing bizarre maneuvers? Can we determine that these are legitimate UAPs in the sense that we're used to talking about them and that they're doing impossible things? Or are they super weird drones that are definitely there and real and scary and doing something weird that we don't understand, but they're essentially just drones? Maybe they're I don't know. But I'm looking at the 5 observables, and some of these videos, many of the videos just seem to show drones just kind of flying in place, or not flying in place, but cruising like a typical aircraft might cruise. So I don't know. What do you think?
So it feels like the sightings are getting like more and more outlandish. Before it was just like a bunch of planes just like circling around and stuff. But the more this has gone on, the weirder videos have come out. And I don't know if that's just because more people are looking up. But it seems, you know, you're getting the guy with like the high-end camera that's taking something that looks, taking some photos of like Ezekiel's wheel in the sky and stuff. It feels like if, and this was talked about by, to be honest, I think it was probably a bit of like a crazy person video, but somebody said he claimed to be a medium. I'll try and find the video, but he said that this would happen in this way where they would appear to us in a comforting way and then it would sort of slowly, softly change as time goes on because people get more and more comfortable with what they're seeing in the sky. So it changes more slowly and thus there's less panic. I'll try and find the video.
That, I think I know who you're talking about. I think that's Bashar. He's in a Hawaiian shirt.
That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah. Chris Ramsey had a interesting comment on him once, and it popped into my mind. He claims to go into a channeling state and then bring forth information, but I'm not sure how I feel about him yet. I've seen a bunch of his stuff. It's good.
So the one I'm seeing, it's not Bashar. I haven't seen photos of him. It's not Bashar. The guy has hair in the video that I've seen.
Oh, okay, then that's somebody else.
And we don't need to find the video, but yeah, it's strange how he kind of said that it would just slowly get a bit more weird over time.
While you're talking, keep talking. I'm going to share some. We're going to take a stroll down UFOB and look at some of the videos here.
It's just filled and it's going nuts, and it's a shame I really can't get these calls talking because I know there are some sightings in Germany at the moment as well.
Well, our switchboard crashed. Everybody in the whole country's trying to call in right now. In the whole world, it's night shift.
I really hope I can try and
we're the only
out,
show that's doing this. No one else is giving you content like this, people, and I'm really going to start selling it more because we do have something super special here, really unique. Look at this. This is in New York. Imagine you walk outside your apartment, you go on your balcony, you got a great apartment, look over there and you see this. Now, at this stage, all kinds of people could be sending up regular drones. Then there's the aircraft that are flying to check these things out. There's our stuff. There's civilian crap. There's probably all kinds of stuff in the sky right now that wouldn't normally necessarily be there just because that this is going on. So I'm sure that's causing a lot of false positives, if you will, like people seeing stuff in the sky. But this is one. So this is from New York. Let's scroll down a little bit. That's the sound one. New Jersey mystery drones Facebook group. Spinning ball of light turns and starts blinking like a drone. Watch this. There it is. Oh, this one here. I'm sorry. Well, to my eye, this looks just like a regular drone. But this weird little thing at the end, watch this. And now it looks like it's actually got navigation lights on it. And it just blinks and goes away.
Literally, there's one.
You're right.
This is Connecticut.
And then there's one over there. What the heck? And then there's one right there. What the heck?
Who knows? Could be aliens.
But there's 1, 2, 3, like in this, like right here.
That's crazy.
I'm so confused.
I've got one to show you.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. They're like,
I mean, I don't know. It should be confusing, but
Check this one out.
This. Is this the same kind of drone that they're seeing in New Jersey?
Goes between the buildings. What's that?
I don't know. Now, the most obvious,
What?
like, simple thing, the simplest answer is it's a drone that has a bright light on it, and then somebody's just flying it around. Like that. That's probably happening too, right? People
There's
just
not much noise. I guess
Yeah,
there's
but-
air conditioning noise as well, though.
It says here, FBI tells New Jersey's fire department not to approach downed drones and to contact bomb squad. That's not good. Downed or landed drones should not be approached. Utilize emergency response guidebook guide 111 to establish isolation and evacuation distance. 330 feet in all directions initially. Fire service members should utilize full PPE with SCBA when establishing the isolation and evacuation distances and not re-enter the zones once established. Notify local law enforcement and the FBI. Request New Jersey SP Hazardous Materials Response Unit and local hazmat team. Guys, this doesn't sound good. Hazardous Materials Response Team should approach the incident in as an unknown. So here's my question, right? Like, if these are aliens, don't we already have a crash retrieval program? Don't we already have people trying to do this? And couldn't they, like, why would they be telling the New Jersey law enforcement people, you know, like, why are they sending this out to people?
I guess
Just
if you
send in the
really
Delta
wanna-
Force guys to go get the UFO, like send in the UFO team.
I guess if you really want to go down the rabbit hole, and I know you always do, there's that post from the radar operator that tries to take this in a whole different direction. I have that, yeah. Before we show it, we have to obviously say this is just some dude posting on Reddit. This could literally be like my mate. Like, I don't know.
So, well, and this, we are in the rumor mode right now, so let's
Yeah,
be fair with what we're doing, but we're speculating.
But let's speculate. So,
and that's what's going on in the space right now. If you're looking at, if you're new here and you don't know, this is what is floating around the UFO space right now. Doesn't mean that any of this is actually happening. We're just looking at it.
So this is a repost because the original post was deleted, but everybody obviously copies anything interesting instantly, just in case it gets taken down, like what happened to our good friend over at Liberty Wing.
Mm-hmm.
I also received a message from, as you played that radio interference clip, and he said, I have very similar noises in my live stream in the background.
Who said that?
Daryl from Daryl from Liberty Wing, UK.
Oh, he said, okay.
Yeah.
Interestingly, okay, so this is a text I got from a friend of mine that I've known since we were like 15. That we go all the way back to high school. This is what he said. He sends me a text the other day. This is on Tuesday. He goes, "Hey, Clint, I know it's late and don't feel like you got to rush to reply, but I had to tell you, last night, upon coming home, I heard it first, then saw one of those crazy car-sized drones, crazy sounding drones, cruising the canopy of our towns and small tall pines. Smaller than a Cessna, but sounded like a freight train with a weird chorus effect." That's what he describes. I have been following all this UFO over New Jersey thing and kept it a passing thought until I saw one. That's my a personal friend, so I trust what he says. But the sound thing, that comes up a lot too.
Yeah, that it's not like a conventional. It's not like, doesn't sound like a regular drone. I unfortunately just said his name, but it's not that big a deal. But Daryl said he'll send me the video of his live stream tomorrow, so we'll be able to share that.
Here's one. Let's do.
Do we want to just go through that radar, guys?
Yes, please go right ahead. This one is
obviously, again, take it for what it is. It is just a post on the internet. But this guy said 25-year radar operator for a major agency here. Just thought I'd let you all know what has been going on these past few weeks. The drones are part of a military drill being conducted by Space Force. Everything is on a need-to-know basis, which is why there's so much confusion. What gets me concerned and why I had to make this post is that something big is about to go down. I happen to know that there are additional full lockout drills that are scheduled to take place between now and Christmas Eve. These operations involve the full turnover of all radio/radar and aircraft communications to the military for several hours at a time. In conjunction with that, there are also scheduled satellite launches off the books, which have been occurring since October. They are setting up some kind of big show for the public very soon. CNN was even at our facility shooting pre-roll footage for a future story. I don't know exactly what is going on, but I know all I know is get ready, and then peace and safety to all of you and your families. This could very easily be a LARP. There's absolutely nothing to back it up, but
no.
When we're going down the rabbit hole, if it is a LARP, it's a LARP about Blue Beam, effectively, isn't it? If he's talking about satellites going into space, the whole premise of Blue Beam is that these holograms are being sort of projected in front of our eyes.
Well, I would say it like it seems to be all right. The area that it's all localized in is the Northeast, like New Jersey, Staten Island, New York region. Is this the same situation that's unfolding for like Liberty Wing in the UK, or are these things unrelated? That's the first thing I want to know. Because like if they're related, then it's a global phenomenon. And we don't know where else that could be happening, but it'd be interesting to find out, right? Like what other places is this going on? Is it happening in Russia? Is it happening in China? Are they talking about it? Is this stuff getting out on the news? Does anybody else, have an idea? If it's localized to that area, then what's with all this activity? Why are they? What are they? They're looking for something. Right? They're searching. They've got all this equipment, all this manpower, all of this energy, as Kirby put it. We're looking into this with energy, a sense of energy. His whole press conference sounded like the speech a person gives as they're getting fired, like right before they get fired. Like that's their last thing.
Before it no longer matters what they say more than anything.
It's like, I'm going to leave and this is how I'm walking out. And like when this is all over, the new administration is going to come in. Let's think about the timing. We're in between presidential administrations. It's the holiday season. That's a highly, highly populated area. I mean, just New York City is what, like 8-9 million people? It's like 4 million people just in Brooklyn. Like, forget about like New Jersey, New York, the whole, all the boroughs, all together, millions and millions and millions of people. It's why in all those Michael Bay movies or all those disaster movies, it's why they always blow up New York or LA or whatever. It's like, it's a big city. It's got a lot of, there's a lot of reasons you wouldn't want everyone there to panic all at the same time. Right. And that group is hyper aware of the danger of unknown situations unfolding around. Like after 9/11, the whole city it's like constant. You're always thinking about it. So it's something so big that they're terrified to tell everybody. And why wouldn't they want to tell anyone? Because they'll panic. Well, what would make them panic? It's aliens, or it rhymes with schmooklier, and we need to really get yourself some potassium iodide tablets as stocking stuffers this year, because that's what it looks like. That's the scope of the situation, from what I can tell.
You've even got the army green on right now.
Dude, I did it all. Red alert, green shirt. So let's go on. Let me look at let me show you some other things as we were digging around. Watch this clip. This is Fox News. Another thing that stands out to me as I'm watching the response unfold is that mainstream media is on this now. They are on it. It's not a question of like, is it drones or, it's just a holiday, people being silly with all their new drones or whatever. Don't worry about it. It's like Fox News is on it. CBS is on it. CNN is on it. Every news station is on it. And there's a reason for that. So let's watch this clip from Fox News, and you tell me what you think when you see this, because this is something else.
Over recent days. It's been happening over several weeks. Congressman, good to have you with us. The White House not ruling out anything, not giving us any answers. Neither did this hearing that we just heard some questions in. What is going on here, and when can people expect to get some answers from our leaders?
They should have had them immediately. Last night I was on the beach with Sheriff Mastronardi, and he's doing a magnificent job in trying to ascertain a threat for this. He's the Ocean County Sheriff. Sean Golden's doing the same thing in Monmouth County. So I was there on the beach, and I talked to several people, including a commander for the Coast Guard, who told me that the night before, I was there last night, so 2 nights ago, one of their 47-foot vessels, boats, was trailed very closely by more than a dozen of these drones. Now that, to me, is very not just suspicious, provocative, and this could be a foreign power, whether it be Putin, or whether it be Xi Jinping in China, or the Middle East. We can't rule any of that out.
Yeah, this is incredible.
It's
so
incredible.
A United States Coast Guard boat testified to you that 12 drones were following it in the water, in the Atlantic Ocean. Did they tell you anything about the size, what they look like? Were they able to get images? How close were they?
You know, they were pretty large, and they weren't far off the stern. So it's very, very troubling. I called the Joint Base and talked to the commanding officer there and asked, we know we have the capability within DOD to ascertain where it's coming from, even bring it down, and they have it, but they don't have the, quote, authority to do it.
What, from
so
who? See, this is the question,
asked.
Congressman. So when you're out over the ocean and you have 12 of them out there, I think, it's a very reasonable question. Why weren't one of those drones trailing the Coast Guard ship shot down over the ocean and grabbed and checked out?
Well, again, the capability to do that in a way that could retrieve what it is and who's doing it, it resides within the DOD. They have it. I've asked the commanding officer to get that authority. I've written Lloyd Austin to ask him to give that authority. I mean, this could be the beginning of something, or it could be nothing. Who knows? But how dare they allow us to live? I just listened to the White House spokeswoman.
Say nothing.
They got nothing to tell us.
Unbelievable.
And we have the capability. And the night before, I was there last night till late. The night before, one of our police officers, again working for Sheriff Mastronardi, chronicled 50 coming from the ocean onto land. 50.
This is
this is really serious stuff.
It's insane. It's like a sci-fi movie, and it could be a hoax, but it's so large, the number of them.
There's probably a ship that
it's a foreign entity.
launching them.
It's something that the U.S. knows and understands, or it's some kind of massive hoax with lots of people involved. But whatever it is, we absolutely have to know. So, this lack of answers is absolutely
Martha, there's
really
no way
upsetting.
it's a hoax. We have foreign powers, especially China, Putin, Russia, and the Middle East.
We watched the balloon go across and didn't shoot it down until it was well out over the ocean. So let's hope we can get it right this time.
Okay, that's the Fox News clip. Let me go to let's see.
Just so
here.
you know, we have fixed live calls now. Thanks to Chris, the mod.
Oh, thanks, Chris. Hang on one second. I just want to go to this other post.
I'll get ready again.
This is from. Let's see. Did that go through? Is it? Hang on. I got to see my screen. I'm using this other shared thing to do it, and I don't think it worked right. So let's do this. Here we go. Share. All right. So this is our friend Matt Ford at the Good Trouble Show. Sources have informed the Good Trouble Show that the Biden administration is in complete meltdown within the White House as they try to mitigate the New Jersey drone crisis. The Biden administration, particularly National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan and the National Security Council, are lying to Americans about what they know. It's a crisis of their own making. That's from Matt Trouble. I'm sorry, that's from Matt Ford at the Good Trouble Show on his X post here. So with that, let's take a call. Do we have a caller?
Excellent. Right, it's gonna work now. So I know what the problem was. You know how like Discord sets up like a an auto detect voice. I needed to turn that off. I needed to turn that off.
Well, so real quick before we go to calls, guys, if you haven't already, hit the like button. That boosts the stream. It gooses the YouTube algorithm, and it gets more eyeballs on this stream. So please, 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 if you really want to help us out, the best way to do it, hit that like button, and let's get that stream up there. We're at almost 1,000 viewers right now. Let's see if we can get it up to 1,500. Let's go.
Excellent. So we got Pell from Germany. Hey, Pell.
Pell, how are you? You're live.
Hi.
Hey, it worked. Hey. What's on your mind, Pell?
1 second. Something's off here.
It's on me too. It wasn't us after all.
Now I can't hear you. 1 second. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
But it was working.
We were so close. We need a real phone. We just need a phone, an actual number.
I can hardly hear you guys.
Okay, bear with.
All right, technical difficulties.
Try again.
Can you hear us now?
Yes.
All right. Pell, how are you? Welcome to the show. You're live.
Okay, so I'm doing fine. I don't know where I have a delay here.
No problem. What's on your mind?
So, Pell, you've got to mute. Pell's got to mute his stream and just talk to us in Discord.
Thank you. Okay, I'm just going to speak because with this delay, I don't know how this is going to work. So I do believe that the government knows exactly what it is. Now, I've been thinking, and I might have a little bit of a crazy thought here, but if you think back about Lou Elizondo, what he said with his book Imminent, and something was going to be happening, but he couldn't talk about it. And now we have all of these, I'm still going to call them UAPs right there. And I do believe that the government knows exactly what they are, and they're not telling us. But I don't believe that they are not telling us because they don't want us to know. I believe they are telling us that they don't know what it is because they don't want the others to know. That's my thought right there.
What makes you say that? That's an interesting thought.
And they're not telling us, but I don't believe that they are.
We've got a delay. This is too slow. We might have to bail on this.
Let's go.
Drop
let's
it
go
in
to
the
next
comments.
guy.
Let's go to the next
if
call.
we think about, all of the crash retrievals and maybe the aliens that they maybe that they caught and interrogated, they might know what is coming, and they don't want to give, let's just say the aliens right there, or the other beings, they don't want to give them the advantage of us knowing that we know what is coming.
I get that. Let's cut the call there so we don't have any weird overlap. But I get the idea. I don't disagree with that notion. But it seems like at this point they would just assume that we're aware. I mean, once you're visible, you've got bright blinking lights all over these craft. They're not like what we're hearing is that they show up, they're seen, they're visible, they're blinking, they're glow in the dark. Then you go to follow them, and then they just go dark and disappear. That's what they're telling us. They send a helicopter out, all this night vision gear, all of this infrared stuff, all this FLIR. Apparently none of it works on these things. Or it does work, and they know exactly what they are. They just don't want us to know. I don't think it's about NHI knowing one way or the other. I mean, they've shown their hand at this point. I feel like it's us they're trying to keep in the dark. Who else? Do we have another call?
Yeah, we've got Combat Taxi from Illinois. Combat Taxi, you are live in 3, 2, 1.
Combat Taxi,
hello,
are you there?
long-time caller? Or long-time listener, sorry.
Long time listener, first time caller. What's on your mind?
Yeah. My question is, have you guys seen the video last night of the supposed crash UAP drone last night on the freeway near New Jersey? I can't find it anymore. It's been removed.
I saw it. Yeah, I saw a crash video, but I don't know if it's the same one that you're talking about. But the one I saw was a lot of fire involved.
Yeah, there was a big divot in between the highway, and it looked like there was no wings on it, but it was very interesting. And my second question is, what do you think the chance of mimicry is?
I think that, great question. The chance of mimicry is, so the mimicry idea is that this, for those who haven't heard this, is that some of these drones, let's assume that they are NHI for a second, they're appearing and then camouflaging themselves to look like what we would think of when we think of a drone. So you're seeing drones, but the drones look weird. They just don't look correct. There's something not exactly right about them. They're if you glanced at them, you'd probably assume it's a drone. But if you really looked at it and you spent time in it, followed them with a Apache gunship or a Black Hawk helicopter or a satellite, they have some type of camouflage system that goes into play where they appear to be something mundane and then they can just disappear. So there's some kind of like camouflage or cloaking technology at play. That's my understanding of the mimicry concept. Or a weirder take on that is that they're actually changing shape, which we have heard of. I mean, some UAPs do this. So there are reports that some craft are capable of shape shifting into different forms, some kind of metamaterial, maybe some kind of nanotechnology thing. I don't know, but I think it's very compelling. And it would explain. I mean, look, they're not telling us either because it is aliens and they just don't know how to handle that information. And they're just like, shit, it's happening. And it's happening in the last days of a presidency that's on its way out the door. And there's a legacy to think about. And there's like, we just don't want to deal with this right now. We just want to get out. And everybody's trying to like find the door and pass the buck until the next administration comes into power. That's what it looks like to me, watching the press briefings and everybody just scramble. No one wants this on Christmas, but it's serious. And so they have to deal with it. So there's like this weird information sort of sandstorm where there's like everybody's telling each other they don't know what's going on and it's someone else's problem, but don't worry, there's nothing to see here. Go back to sleep. It's fine. And I don't know about you guys, but like when someone starts talking to me like that, I'm like, oh, I'm totally going to panic right now. I'm going to go home and prepare my shit and get ready for something. I don't know what, but there's only like 3 things that could be that are that serious. One hypothesis that I've heard, and again, this is a rumor. All of this is, I mean, I have no basis for what I'm about to say, but I'm looking at the various rumors that are going around, and this one sounded plausible, sounded like it fit the description, the response that we're seeing. I don't know if you remember that one of the big summer action films in 1997 was George Clooney, and it's called The Peacemaker. That's what it was. It was about a nuclear weapon that gets smuggled into New York City. Imagine, if you will, a situation where you are in a nuclear conflict with another superpower or nation state, and you want to do something, but you don't have cruise missiles, or you don't want to be necessarily linked to it, and so you use some kind of low-tech nuclear option, like a dirty bomb or a suitcase bomb. You smuggle it in. You just have to get it somewhere, and then it sits in a basement for 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, however long it sits there until you activate somebody and they go switch it on. And then it turns on and a timer starts. I don't know. I call it the Die Hard scenario. It's a John McClane hypothesis. It's something where they would have everybody out looking for this thing. It would be like all hands on deck, but you couldn't come out and say what you're looking for. So you would have to do it in a way that you'd fly aircraft all over the place. You'd be running, crazy search patterns all over the place. You'd be training all your resources on this, trying to figure out like, where is this thing? We know it's somewhere, and it's somewhere near New York City. We got to figure out where it is and deal with it. Maybe, I don't know, but that appears to be kind of what we're seeing. It's some kind of a response like that. Again, I'm not saying I know this. This is just purely a rumor, and you should not take it to mean that it's happening or if there's any, do your research, figure this out on your own. But it's one of the rumors that's floating around. They are not telling us what we need to know to make educated decisions about this. They're giving us no information to go by. So the rumor mill is just filling up right now, and you need to be aware of that. And they're probably they're definitely monitoring that whole information space for sure. And I don't know what to believe, and you shouldn't either. You should just look at how they're reacting. Just look at that, because that you can pretty much bank on. But it doesn't look good. What do you guys think about this? When you look at these press conferences and you just watch these officials talk about this, am I out of line here? Have I gone completely off the ledge?
Dude, this is nuts.
I don't think so personally.
Look at this. This is the letter from where is it? United States Senate. Cory Booker's office sent this letter out. And let's see. Okay, let's do this first. Let's go to.
We've got some boots on the ground ready to call next, by the way.
Okay, hang on one second. We'll just read this letter quick. This is from Cory Booker's office, December 10th, 2024, to Pete Buttigieg. So that's just mangling that name. Secretary of U.S. Department of Transportation. Over the past several weeks, there have been multiple confirmed sightings of unexplained drone activity over New Jersey communities and military installations. These sightings have been confirmed by local and state authorities, prompting the Federal Bureau of Investigation to open an investigation into the sightings and the Federal Aviation Administration to impose flight restrictions over Picatinny Arsenal in Morris County and Trump National Golf Club, Bedminster in Somerset County. On December 4th, New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy convened a briefing with Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, state agencies, and members of the New Jersey congressional delegation. The unexplained drone activity in and around New Jersey continues, however, with reports on December 9th of drone sightings over Naval Weapons Station Earl in Monmouth County. I recognize the need to maintain operational security of ongoing investigations and that this situation requires complex interagency coordination. However, there is a growing sense of uncertainty and the urgency across the state from constituents and local officials alike, despite assurances that the drones pose no known threats to public safety. I don't know how they can know that. If they don't know what they are, how can they know they pose no threat? As such, I urge you to share any relevant information about these drone sightings with the public. Without transparency, I believe the rumors, fear, and misinformation will continue to spread. I also request that the DHS, the FBI, and the FAA provide a briefing to New Jersey's municipal and county officials on the current situation. They're not even telling the local officials what's going on because they don't want it to get out. It is our shared obligation to ensure our airspace is safe and secure, and I am committed to giving New Jerseyans peace of mind about these activities. I'm eager to assist, yada, yada, yada. Right after 9/11, they grounded all aircraft. Like that day, they told every plane in the sky that you have to land. There were no aircraft except for the Saudi royal family. They were able to fly, but no one else was allowed to fly. They can shut down the airspace to all aircraft. They could make it so that nothing is in the air except what we put there. And then by process of elimination, I think it would be a lot easier to figure out what's going on. But it is easier for me to believe that aliens are real than to believe that the Pentagon and the United States intelligence apparatus has no clue what we're looking at. I just don't buy it. So you have to, I'm working from a place of like, they do know, they just don't want you to know. So you got to go there. What's our next caller? Who's here?
So
who's got boots on the ground?
Somebody who is in the area. He's in Monmouth County in New Jersey. and he said he wants to give us a genuine local update. He has immediate family in law enforcement, and they are aware of the situation. He's also worked in the UAP field on behalf of one of the presidential campaigns. So let me see if he's still here. He is currently set to away, but that might just be because he's just listening. Brandon, are you there? Brandon, are you still here? All right, excellent. He's a bit quiet, so I'm going to try and boost his volume on my end. But Brandon, you're live now.
Hello.
Brandon, hi, how are you?
Can y'all hear me?
You're live. What's on your mind?
Oh, I think he's just listening through the stream again.
We can hear you. I need a little sign on like a popsicle stick.
Just for the record, everyone needs to mute the stream if they're calling us. They need to just talk to us through Discord.
We'll get a dedicated phone line.
All right, y'all. There's clearly a huge delay here. I realize I'm seeing on the stream now a little bit delayed. Y'all can hear me, so forgive me first off if I'm interrupting in the middle of a statement because of the delay. Clint, I hope you're doing well. It's Brandon here. I hope you're doing well. I want to give a quick local update here, and I also would love the opportunity. I just want to share some perspective. And I'm also I've been involved in the UAP community for a long time, and I've also in a sort of professional sense as well. But I'm in Monmouth County, New Jersey right now. I do, as was alluded to, I do have immediate family in law enforcement who's been in communication with the Department of Defense, as well as other state and local law enforcement officials. I've spoken with other residents here who have seen and heard these things, who have taken videos of these things. They sound like drones. It would be wise, and that's they don't know the origin, but the main conclusion is that these are man-made drones of some sort. In my opinion, it would be wise for the UAP community to take this opportunity to show the world that we don't have to immediately jump to conclusions. These vehicles aren't demonstrating the five observables typically associated with what people consider to be advanced non-human technology. And especially in this day and age, we can't rely on phone or video imagery alone. Over the last few days, I've been listening to guys like Ross Coulthart, someone who I've spoken to personally in my capacity when I worked for one of the presidential campaigns this past cycle. And he's been automatically insinuating that these must be non-human intelligence. And frankly, I think that's a little disingenuous. And so just for a little perspective for everyone listening and everyone in the chat, Clint, everybody, I'm sitting here right now with these things flying over my house. And they could have already dropped a payload. They could have already dropped a biological weapon. They could have done something that caused absolute havoc. And so while it's true that there's no definitive information yet, the origin of these things, I just wanted to share that my perspective here, and that this is very likely human-made technology. The last thing is, the real issue from my perspective is, from what I understand about these briefings, the legislators and law enforcement officials have been told that these objects are going dark and evading radar. That obviously suggests that this is some very serious technology. This is not something that you can just go and pick up at Best Buy. So my message is simply this: stay pragmatic and reasonable. Let's not jump at every opportunity to call these non-human intelligence. It's not a good look for the community, and we need to approach this with a clear and grounded mindset. Thank you so much.
Brandon, thank you for that. That is a great take. I'm so glad that you put it that way. And great to hear from you again, by the way.
I'll try and fix the delay, by the way, so we can get him back.
You know what it is? It's because some people, the ads are rolling. YouTube rolls ads, and if people get a delay, and if everyone's watching the stream at a different point, so even you'd have to be like as up to date as live with no ads. So I think only the people who have YouTube Premium.
Well, it's not just that. You shouldn't be watching through YouTube at all if you're talking to us. You need to talk to us through Discord.
Oh yeah, that's true.
But yeah, I'll see if I can solve that, because I assume you've probably got some questions. You want a back and forth with him because he spoke very well.
He was great. We'll see if we can fix it, and then
I'll see if I can bring him back properly.
I think Brandon makes an excellent point. I think that we as a community need to be careful. Okay. It's very, you have to know, well, they're going to try to mess with this community. Like they being whoever doesn't like the fact that people are talking about UFOs. Take your pick. It could be a number of different groups. But this community gets messed with. And one way that we can be messed with is to just get us to, yell the sky is falling all the time. And I know that like we're kind of entertaining a lot of spectacular speculation on this show, but just keeping it simple. Like, what is it most likely to be? We're not seeing these things necessarily demonstrate any of the 5 observables that Lou Elizondo spelled out, like instantaneous acceleration or transmedium travel. We're hearing that they are coming from the ocean. Okay, well, they could be coming from a ship. That's possible. They could be coming from a submarine platform. That's possible. If that were true, you'd have to believe that the United States Navy can't see where these things are coming from, or can see where they're coming from but can't do anything about it. Both of those things are terrifying. So if they're coming and going from the water, they're maneuvering like a traditional drone, more or less. They are loitering for like 6 hours, and they're able to evade radar, and they're obviously able to avoid being jammed. I mean, there are guys in foxholes in Ukraine right now that are able to jam drones. Like they're practicing drone warfare all around the world right now. There's no reason to believe that we can't. We don't have the technology to bring down a traditional drone. So it's like somewhere between advanced military drone and NHI, but I'm not at NHI just yet. I'm like, it's that big, or it's that. That's kind of where I'm at. Like it could be, but if it's not aliens, whatever it is super, super weird and super serious. I think Brandon's right, though. Jumping to that conclusion and just assuming. Now, Ross may know something that the rest of us don't know. And if you listen to Ross long enough, he's going to say stuff like that. He's like, I've heard from sources and I've talked to people. So I don't know. If you take Ross at his word, and I do, he knows a lot more than we know. But
we probably shouldn't assume that this is just one thing either.
Yeah.
Like this, what we're seeing, because we're seeing a variety of different things in the sky at the moment. It's logical to assume that if it's not just all, why would one person, one foreign actor or whatever, send so many different apparent kinds of drones? The foreign adversary thing doesn't really make sense anyway. Why would they send so many with lights on? Just doesn't that. Something is, as you say, like it's either here or it's only a little bit below anyway. There's something crazy going on. If it's our tech, fair dues, that's no problem. I'm not even wowed by the technology itself yet. It's the fact that somebody here is lying.
It's like this. It's like you wake up in the middle of the night. Last night I was sound asleep, and then about 3 o'clock in the morning I wake up. About every morning, I usually get up pretty early, but 3 is early for me. And so you just get up early sometimes. And imagine you just walk out of your bedroom and there's like 6 people just seated in your living room. And they're not doing anything. They're not pointing a gun at you. They're not like breaking things. They're just quietly sitting there. Do you freak out? I do. I definitely freak the fuck out. Why are you in my house? Who the hell are you? What are you doing here? Like, I need some answers. And if I start asking questions and then John Kirby comes in and he's like, look, I want to get to the bottom of it. I do. And I'm not going to put my pen down.
The intruder's like, I don't know, man. We're trying to find out right now.
You know what his press conference reminded me of? The NASA press conference that was a few months ago where they were like, now we're NASA and we're going to get to the truth and be honest with the American people. We're going to tell you. You can bet your bottom dollar. That comforting bullshit, like that it's so obviously fake, and it's just insulting. You're like, I think every reporter in that press pool is like watching this, and they're all going, "Are you seriously expecting us to go back and report this shit to people? Like, you think we're gonna, even in this crazy news cycle, like we're supposed to carry this back?" It's like the outgoing administration is trying to like avoid dealing with something huge because it's just a shit show. And imagine like walking out at this time and trying to like deal with that at Christmas with a guy who's like 1,000 years old in office just before another guy comes in.
Why do you think the senator from, I don't know who it was still, sorry, I don't know who it was, but why do you think that representative said it was drones launched from an Iranian mothership? Why do you think he said that? He was told that by someone.
That came from, I think I've got... Well, and we had Arrow give a classified briefing to members of the House. This was just 7 days ago. That just happened. They briefed Nancy Mace and a bunch of people. The report about, let's see, Lou Elizondo put out a tweet about this. Let's see, drones over New Jersey. That's Ross Coulthart's thing. I'm trying to find that clip because I've got it. Actually, you know what? I'm going to show you a clip. Can I switch gears here? We'll come back to that. But Ryan Graves did an appearance on NBC News. It's about 4 minutes long, and he sums it up better than I can. It's Ryan Graves. Like he nails it. Let me just show this real quick. And I think this is he's going to answer it better than I can. All right. Share screen. Come on now. We're going to get to the bottom of this.
What did you think of my American accent? Dadgummit.
That's pretty good.
We're going to find out. Get off my lawn, you know? Somebody comes on my lawn, I ram a shotgun in their mouth, and I say, what are you doing? Share your screen. What you? Stop laughing.
More or less, that's about...
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
I get it. Here, check it out.
We're seeing 3 or 4 targets. Yeah.
Oh. So real quick. So this is, by the way, I have 2 points about this. NBC News is now talking about this, and they like open up with this whole segment and they talk about sightings. There's one sighting that just happened in Oregon, these airline pilots. Now this is going on at the same time as the Lake and Heath UK sightings and the New Jersey situation. Watch this.
UAPs and mysteries in the sky in New Jersey. Let's take a trip back in time to 1947. And no, we're not talking about Roswell 1947, but 1 month before, when a pilot named Kenneth Arnold took off from Washington on his way to an air show. And as he flew over Mount Rainier, Arnold says he saw 9 bright, shiny, saucer-like objects flying in formation across the sky, some weaving side to side like a kite. Well, guess what just happened in the Pacific Northwest? Some 80 years later, some pilots just saw something very similar. And this time, there is audio of their conversation with an air traffic control tower. Take a listen.
We're seeing 3 or 4 targets. Yeah, they're all altitudes, up and down. It's pretty crazy.
We're not seeing anything. Getting lots of different reports out there. Some at 30, some all the way up to 50,000. About 3 or 4 different lights. Does it look like they're around your altitude now?
No, there's one way up high and one about my altitude. Moving in like a circle, like a corkscrew pattern. Just had another one show up about my 1 o'clock, about 1,000 feet high, zipping towards us and then back out towards the ocean. It's red in color, moving at extreme speed.
Roger. You are cleared to maneuver as necessary, left to right, to avoid the UFO out there.
Avoid the UFO out there? That's coming from the air traffic controller. So what could it be? Well, joining us now is co-founder of Americans First Safe Aerospace, Ryan Graves. 50,000 feet, Ryan. You were part of a squadron that saw some weird things out on the East Coast. How dangerous can things be? And like, what's your reaction to hearing, just, navigate around the UFO casually uttered by a traffic controller?
Well, honestly, I'm actually happy that they are actually reporting it to the FAA. For a long time, pilots didn't even want to broadcast this out over the radio for fear of the stigma and ridicule that's associated with it. But, I think we've learned over the past few years that this is a very consistent thing that's been happening to pilots. They are seeing things not just way up in the sky, potentially in space, but things that seem to be exhibiting very strange maneuvers and capabilities right in the atmosphere with the aircraft themselves. And whenever you have an unknown object like that, that's a safety risk for pilots.
a safety risk for pilots, especially if they're moving around rapidly and they're able to go 50,000 feet or higher very quickly, right? I mean, look, on the East Coast, people are seeing things, they're calling those drones. On the West Coast, you have reports like this, and then all around the country, there are reports that come in every single day. Do you think all of it is related, or are we looking at distinct things here?
Well, unfortunately, I don't think we really know quite yet. The cases that we've been seeing in New Jersey, although not any one single video seems to be extremely anomalous, when you step back from the whole and take a look at the historical context off the eastern seaboard, from Virginia Beach to the Langley Air Force Base to now up in New Jersey and even New York, we see a pretty startling trend of a repeatable pattern of unidentified objects that seemingly are exhibiting long flight times, long loiter capabilities, and are coming from unknown locations, potentially somewhere over or in the ocean. Those aren't my words. Those are the words of one of the senior Republicans at the hearing 2 days ago when they were questioning about these drone incursions over New Jersey.
And so now that the stigma seems to be going away, like step two seems to be to do something about people just shrugging when it comes to things like this. I mean, they get brought up and then we're told it doesn't pose any threat when there are no answers on where they're coming from or where they're going or how they're able to stay up for so long. Why are people so comfortable with this?
Well, I would push back a little bit and say that the stigma is certainly still there. I've been very disappointed to hear the language from the Biden administration, from the Pentagon, essentially telling people that they're not actually seeing what they're seeing. There's been 3,000 reports to the FBI on this issue. And the Biden administration seems to be gaslighting the American people into telling them that there's not really anything to be concerned of. Well, people are concerned, governors are concerned, mayors are concerned, families are concerned. And I think it's time that they have a level conversation with us about what's going on, and we can take a hard look at some of this antiquated drone legislation that we have and laws that really prevent us from getting to the bottom of this, because we're at a stalemate here. If this was an adversary, they'd have all the time in the world to take advantage of this situation.
And obviously some of those are going to be misidentified actual planes, right? But like, you're a little bit more familiar with the capabilities of the U.S. military. Like, do we have the capabilities to figure out what's going on here?
We certainly should. We have some of the most powerful radar systems on the East Coast for tracking ICBM missiles, enemy aircraft, as well as all the capabilities localized at bases themselves. So I do believe that we have the capabilities to be able to actually understand what these are, but there seems to be this strange stalemate where the government simply can't find the information and they can't assign any type of threat level or origin to these objects. And that alone, I think, is something our adversaries will be taking careful notes on.
Yeah, it's something all of us should be thinking about. Ryan Graves, thanks so much.
Thanks for watching. Stay up.
I think Graves summarizes it as well as anybody can. I mean, it's super serious. We totally have the capability and the technology to know what these things are and to take them down. So what's going on? Like, why aren't we doing that? What is it about these things? What's on board them? What are you worried about that if you were to shoot one down and it went down in a populated area, what might happen? That would be my question. And what I want to talk to like media people. Like, are there any media experts out there in the audience that can like take a look at the big picture of what's going on? Like PR consultant people who have the training to look at, like, if you look at all of the different press going on right now and all of the different interviews that are happening, and everyone is just like super exacerbated and fired up and nervous. And then they're going to the government and they're saying, what is this? And we're just getting this radio silence and this like nothing to see here attitude. When do you roll that response out? Like, what is the scenario where you're just like, we're going to go completely information blackout on all this? Don't worry, there's nothing there. We haven't identified a threat. Like, what? The NYPD has anti-drone technology. Like, New York Police Department can take down drones, and they do.
There's a consequence. Like, there's obviously a consequence to shooting down these drones. They've been told by someone not to shoot at them. That's got to be a fact at this point. Whether, like, we don't even have to say where the drones are coming from, but there's credible threats if they're flying over households. Like we've just heard from, what was his name? Was it Brandon?
Yeah.
They're flying over his house. That's a threat. So someone is saying, I need to shoot at that because it's quite obviously a threat. And someone is telling that guy, no, you're not. You're not going to shoot at that. You can't. Maybe they're not saying why, but they're saying with enough authority to not, to make it so.
Yeah, I'm there with you. Like but there are other ways to take a drone down, like electronically, and just make it land. So you don't want to do that either. Why wouldn't you? Maybe it's because if you were to try that, it goes off. I don't, like if you clip any wire, the whole thing just goes off. Maybe
what is quite telling was in Lou Elizondo's video yesterday that he uploaded.
I didn't watch that yet. What does he say?
It's great. To be fair, he just really clearly lays things out. He doesn't like sugarcoat it. He doesn't say they're a UAP or anything, but he says, he said that as far as he knows, and I'm paraphrasing all of this, I encourage everyone to go and watch it for themselves. But he said that, commercially available drones are line of sight. They're controlled via line of sight.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to get into the realms where you want to control them beyond the horizon, I think was the words that he said, which is, I think, between 10, 20 miles or something, then you're spending some money. So they can't identify where these drones are going. They're flying off and that's it. They're gone. Also, they say. So it's got to, it's not civilian at this point. We absolutely know it's not. And then if we go by the Pentagon's words, it's not the US military, and it's also not a foreign adversary. That only leaves one for me, but to be honest, the Pentagon, you really can't really listen to much of what they say and take it as like gospel. But I think what Lou did really well was just completely get rid of the sort of the hobbyist idea. It's not possible. The sort of the amount of time they're staying in the air,
6 hours.
It's ridiculous.
What does it take to stay in the air for 6 hours? The only thing I know that can do that is a conventional airplane fueled up.
Yeah.
I mean, unless there's some kind of drone with a hybrid thing that can run really efficiently. I mean, maybe there's some military level stuff that could do 6 hours. I mean, of course there is, but again, if it's a military drone sent here to do us harm, why would you make it glow in the dark and blink? And if it can blink bright colors and like flash these lights, by the way, they don't all look like traditional navigation lights. Like it doesn't. Some of them are green and some of them are purple and some of them, they're just weird colors. And sometimes they don't look like they're in the right place.
It looks like AI made them.
It looks like if you asked a dumb AI to make like what it thinks a drone would look like at night.
Yeah.
And you just left it really vague and it just spit out a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And so it wants to be seen. Whatever it is, wants to be seen. Can't be interfered with, and it's bright, it's blinking, it's flying around. I mean, that's a UAP. That's a. If you went back in time 20 years ago and you showed that, if people saw that, they'd say that's a UFO.
Not only that, what are these? If it was a foreign adversary, what are they trying to get flying over a suburb in New Jersey? What are they trying to get? I get it, flying over military bases, absolutely, and there are ways to do that covertly. There have been ways since the end of World War II for people to covertly fly over military bases. They've increasingly gotten more and more complex as time has gone on. These don't seem all that complex.
We've got satellites for that, and the Russians and Chinese have satellites for that. Like everybody can get a picture of Area 51 from orbit if they want. It's like all of our bases. That's not that. Yeah,
we should ask Area 51 what's going on.
Well, they know.
I'll email them.
They definitely know. I reached out to Chris Sharp. I just sent him a quick message, and he says they're going to have a big piece coming out on this in a couple of days. So I'm eagerly awaiting that. I reached out to a few other people in the community to get their temperature check on what's going on, and everybody's scratching their heads. It's like, we want it to be aliens, yeah, and I do too, but I'm not there yet. But I think it's that big, or close to that big.
There's something. There's a game changer involved here. There's a game changer.
Well, let's say this: if you could prove beyond the shadow of a doubt that it was Chinese drones, like just straight up military Chinese drones, if that's what it turned out to be, then what is the appropriate military response from our side if we're not actually engaged in conflict overtly, openly, but another power was doing this and violating classified or protected airspace? Then what is the appropriate response? During 9/11, Dick Cheney was ready to shoot aircraft out of the sky, like passenger jets. Like, they were prepared to shoot them down, full of people. So I'm kind of like, you can't take out a drone? What's on that drone?
Or
what is it about that?
Is the U.S. military as pacified? I can't believe this is a thought, but you have to think, like, is the U.S. military as pacified as the U.K. military was a couple of weeks ago, where apparently it took 2 weeks to transport 60 soldiers from, the U.K. is about the size, a little bit bigger than Florida, and it took them 2 weeks to transport like 60 personnel from a couple of bases less than 2 hours away.
It's less likely that that's true.
Yeah.
And it's way more likely that what we're looking at is a huge propaganda sort of like media situation unfolding right now. And they are trying to spin this thing and control it, but no one's really in charge of what's going on. It's a completely disjointed, crazy response that makes no sense. And no one seems to want to take ownership of it. Like, there's no one wants to own this thing. And I think that's frightening. Because they can't solve. Now, the other thing that I heard, and again, a rumor, this is only a rumor, was that, and I think I kind of touched on this before, was like, what if it is, they are our aircraft, they are our drones, but they can't tell us why they're in the air. And they don't want people to find out why they're in the air.
Yeah.
But they're there because they're looking for something. And so they've got lights on them because they're ours, and they are actually, there's other aircraft around, so they need to be seen.
Lights on, transponders off. It's a bit
maybe
it's possible. Like it happens.
I hate. I don't want to.
Do you think there's any part of this that could be a drill or an exercise? Do you think this is an active situation? It's not just a test.
They wouldn't be this fucking backwards if it were an active situation. They'd know what was going on. They would have. Everyone's failed. Whatever the fucking test is. There's no way Kirby's going on television giving a stupid, disjointed answer that everybody knows is bullshit. And Sabrina Singh, same thing. Like, why are they going on television? Obvious. Like, everyone in the room knows they're full of shit. There's no way. And if it is true that they can't deal with this situation, they can't take these drones down, they can't get them to land, they can't force them out of the sky, they can't control the airspace, then they can't control our airspace. That's terrifying. And it's like, what are we paying for? What are we spending when you pay your taxes at the end of the year? Like, I want to get a receipt that says, like, this much. This is where it went.
Especially, what are you guys paying for? Especially you guys.
Right. Like, what is all of this technology for? And why do we always need more of it if you can't make the shit work that we already have? There was a 27-inch diameter asteroid that was detected by NASA in advance. They knew where it was going to hit in the atmosphere above Siberia at what time of day. Like, days in advance, they could tell us this. We've got rovers driving around on Mars. They can read, we have satellites that can read the time off of your watch from the street and, like, read the text messages off of your phone. if you want me to believe that these drones are just, you cannot follow them to their point of origin, then I have to go aliens. That's where I'm at. Like I have to go that far. But I'm not ready to go there yet. So I'm trying to say is they do know.
Yeah, somebody's not.
I think it's more likely that they do know, and what they know is fucking terrifying. That's what I think that's where I'm at. But I don't want to say it can't possibly be aliens, because it might be, and maybe that's what we're seeing, and maybe we've just really backed the right horse with Night Shift, and this is going to blow up.
But everyone buy the album real quick.
Yeah, buy the album. If the invasion starts, you want to defeat them with music.
Do you want to have another call? We've got a long time caller.
If we've got somebody, yeah,
we've got lots. I'm not going to be able to get to everyone. We've got a lot of people.
Oh, we do. Oh, right. Well, if we can get it to go, let's do it.
I'll try. We are struggling a little bit tonight. I think people are just struggling to be able to hear us within like the platform that we're using to sort of organize all of this. But hopefully, Matt from Illinois, not from Illinois. Sorry, Matt is from Maryland, and he's Android Paranormal. He's a common in the Discord. Matt, are you there?
Yeah, yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
All right, perfect. You guys are a little faint, but I'll go ahead. Are you still able to hear me?
You're good. Go on. What's on your mind?
All right, perfect. So I just wanted to kind of do a little bit of a critical thinking exercise here. Xander was absolutely on point earlier about Lou Elizondo and the things he said. So I think let's start from every scenario here. Just give me about 3 minutes to go through this. So obviously we can rule out this, a civilian doing this, some teenagers flying drones and playing pranks on everyone because they're the size of SUVs. So we can immediately scratch that out, right? So let's go to the next one. It seems like everybody agrees the government knows something and is lying. But I think that's funny that everybody agrees that, but then everybody's calling them drones. So at the same time, we're contradicting ourselves and agreeing with their assessment that they're drones, even though they admit they don't know what they are. Okay, so keep that in the back of your mind now. So anyways, let's go on to the next scenario. The next scenario is a lot of people seem to be leaning towards foreign adversary. If it is foreign adversary, that is major, because if you think about it from a critical thinking exercise, how would a foreign adversary pull that off? So if you think about it from that perspective, how would they do it, right? Okay, so what we know is that they're the size of cars, that they're able to fly for 6+ hours, right? So that rules out batteries. It means it's got to be gas or nuclear powered or some sort of weird energy power, right? And also, how did they get here, right? They can't be launching from a ship because we would be able to see that from our satellite. So that's absolutely 100% ruled out. So that means that either A, somehow they smuggled dozens of car-sized drones across the border. Highly unlikely. You need flatbed trucks for that. So that's very highly unlikely. Or through shipping containers or something like that. Highly unlikely. Not impossible, but highly, highly unlikely. So the only other possibility that this could be done is if they're launching from a submarine that's submersing above the water, and they launch out of the submarine. There's no known technology that can do that. But it's not impossible. Maybe somebody's done that. Now, if we wonder, well, what countries have the 1, resources, 2, the willpower to do that, and 3, the expertise to do that kind of technology, it ain't Iran, that's for sure. They couldn't even hold on, help Syria hold on. And so we can rule them out. And we already know what their drones look like, and because they sell them to Russia. And that means we can also rule out Russia, because Russia buys their drones from Iran. If Russia has some advanced drone tech, why are they buying drones from Iran that sound like a bunch of mopeds in the sky? There's videos of them being shot down by Ukraine. So we can rule them out as well. So that only leaves China. China is pretty much the only one who has the expertise, the resources, and the willpower to do something like this. So I think the foreign adversary is very low on the totem pole. Not impossible. Anyway, so it's more likely to either be our government or NHI. Now, the question is why would it be our government? So as Lou Elizondo said yesterday in his video, is that maybe they have some sort of tip that there is some sort of threat, like maybe, a small nuclear bomb was smuggled into the country as something like that, and they have some sort of tip that it's in that area, right? So it could be something like that. And because a lot of people say, it could be our government, but then they never go on to explain, okay, well, if it's our government, why would they need to send dozens of drones in the sky with lights on, right? Why wouldn't they do it with lights off? Or why would, what would be the purpose of that? So nobody ever goes on to explain that. Lou Elizondo is the only one I've heard explain it. Actually, George Knapp explained the theory as well, that maybe it's a PSYOP test to see how we'll react to UFOs in the sky, to prepare to tell us about the real truth about NHI. So that's another possibility as well. But anyways, the point is that I think foreign adversary is very low on the totem pole. It's either our government or it's NHI. And to kind of top off this discussion, I posted a photo in the Discord. I don't know if Xander's able to bring it up, of the only video I've seen where you can actually see the shape of one of these objects. All these videos, you can just see the lights, right?
Yeah.
And another thing is, a lot of people are saying, well, they don't have any of the 5 observables. That's not exactly 100% true. One of the 5 observables is low visibility, and they are demonstrating low visibility. They're not showing on radar and supposedly unable to be tracked. So that is technically low visibility. So just keep that in mind as well. And again, I'm not saying they're guaranteed to be NHI. We just really need to, gather all these facts together. It's really hard because we have so many facts coming at us that we need to really kind of analytically analyze each thing and play out each scenario in a logical format. And if you put up that picture, you'll see that shape of that craft, it looks like a turtle shell or a flying saucer. It's kind of wild. And that one was not in New Jersey. That one was in Bowie, Maryland, right outside of DC.
Let's see here. Xander, you got that?
Yeah, just give me a second. Just so you're aware, the caller can't actually hear me, but I do have his picture. So just give me a second.
Okay, he's Xander's pulling that up. So while we wait, I think critical thinking is definitely needed here. And if they're loitering for 6 hours, the size of an SUV or a small SUV, you're right. That's a great point. They would have to be, how would you smuggle that in? How would you get that in undetected? And then how would we not be able to follow that from point A to point B? That doesn't make sense.
Okay.
So
right, exactly.
Yeah, let's look at this picture. Xander's, he's got it pulled up here.
It's going to look a little bit grainy. But yeah, I see it. You see that, Clint?
Yes. Is that link in our internal chat? Can I see that on my screen? Let's see here.
I know. Yeah, I can do it.
Just so I can get I'm seeing it in the little preview window.
It's different when it's just shared on the stream. Right, I've just shared the picture with you.
Okay, let's see.
It looks better when it's a smaller picture.
It looks like a car pumping its brakes from 15, 20 yards away. I mean,
yeah. If you watch the video, right above that picture in the Discord, I posted the full news video. This wasn't just like a random photo posted, on Reddit or something like this. This was a news broadcast in Washington, D.C., local news. And they played the full video of the lady filming it. You can see, that's just a zoomed in crop of the craft. And they interviewed her and a whole shebang. You guys can play that video too if you want. You can maybe go to their YouTube channel, NBC Washington.
But the
video I also
uploading the video
posted in the Discord
got
chat
it
as well.
He's got the video. He's going to put it up in just a second. He's pulling it up now. I'm watching the video on Discord right now. Xander's going to put it on the screen in just a second. But what I'm seeing here, again, it's like it's got blinking lights on it. If you're here to do us harm and you're an adversary, even if you could get the drone in position, why would you make it light up?
Sightings like this one are becoming more common.
I agree. Yeah, it's very puzzling for sure.
Here we go.
are now calling for a limited ban on drone flights until the public receives answers about those sightings.
News 4's Dominique Moody spoke with a Maryland woman who reported seeing several drones over her home this week.
There's a drone. They're all over. You're supposed to report him to the FBI.
We see at least 3 to 5 different drones in the sky. I was shocked. My mouth dropped.
These videos were captured by Autumn Stasuli on Monday night outside her Bowie, Maryland home.
It had green lights and it's red. And now it's red.
The discovery came moments after Autumn says she and her sister were talking about another pair of drone sightings in New Jersey. She says she's lived in Bowie her whole life and has never seen a sight like this.
It was very unsettling afterwards because I'm like, oh my goodness, it's happening here in Bowie, Maryland. Why Bowie? Bowie is such a quiet town.
This isn't the first time mysterious drone flights have caught the attention of those below. New Jersey lawmakers say several sightings have been reported throughout the state. On Tuesday, House members, a part of the Homeland Security Subcommittee, questioned FBI leaders about the New Jersey drone sightings.
It's concerning. It's frustrating. You're telling me we don't know what the hell these drones are in New Jersey are? Is that correct?
That's right.
It's crazy. I mean, that's crazy.
New Jersey lawmakers have called for a limited ban on drones inside of the state until the public receives an explanation, while lawmakers say better oversight is needed.
I think it's going to be important for the federal government as well as state and local governments to take a look at what sort of protections we need to put in place to protect regular citizens.
As for Autumn, she, like others, would like to know what's flying up above.
You don't know who is controlling them, who's sending them out here. Are they coming from another country?
In Bowie, Dominique Moody, News 4.
That's a great clip. I mean, let's go there for a minute. Let's game that out. Let's say it's aliens. All right. If it's aliens, one thing I think is definitely true, or will turn out to be true, is that when it happens, the event, whatever form it takes, the day we find out for real, that it's all actually happening, and it's not even questioned anymore, it's like done and over with, they show up. It's definitely going to be weirder and totally different than whatever we can imagine. I have a sense that is just going to be the case, because it's just, how could it, there's no way we could possibly be prepared for what that's actually going to be like. So the reality of it is going to be really bizarre. And when it happens, it's going to feel totally weird and disjointed. And you're going to see a lot of confusion, and people aren't going to quite know how to react. And I'm going to tell you, where I saw this reaction before, something like this, you'll all remember. Think back to when COVID first kicked off. With the very first early beginnings of COVID, when it first started to kick off, I'll tell you what I saw. When I was watching that start, I saw some videos online just floating around on the internet of tiny rural villages in China where they had literally, like Mad Max style, like had people with pitchforks outside chasing people away. If someone tried to come through the village, they would like chase them away with machetes and pitchforks and shit. They had barricaded their roads. They didn't want any traffic in or out. Like, this is what the very first early days of this. And it was like, there's a weird thing going on in China. There's like a virus or something, some kind of virus. And then we all went about our day and pretended like, it was all fine, whatever. And then the news started to pick up on it a little. Oh, the mystery virus. A mystery virus. There's some kind of mystery virus. Seems to be spreading. And then it got more intense. And then the White House eventually had to weigh in on it. And it was a problem, but it's going to go away. And don't worry about it. It's nothing really to see here. We're on it. We're on it. But this will be no issue at all in just a few days. Just wait. And then it didn't go away. And it got weirder. And then one day, I am walking through Grand Central Terminal, Midtown Manhattan. It's empty. Like 28 days later, empty. There are flocks of birds flying around the train station. You can just look up and see, and I have video of this. I'm just walking. And that was the moment where I'm walking around. I'm going through Soho, looking at the boarded up stores. There's plywood over all these windows, and it's like, no looting. graffiti. It looked like a movie. But it started like this. It started like this, and it was really weird. And I would just say this. If it does turn out to be aliens, and it could, maybe it is, maybe this is just how weird it is in the very beginning. They show up, and maybe they do try to impersonate our own aircraft. They try to like look like what we expect to see. And so they put on a little show. They put on a demonstration. They show up and they blink and they fly around a little bit. They don't really do anything, but they leave. And maybe our military does know exactly what they are, but they are impotent against this. They can't stop them. They can't necessarily shoot them down. Because if you shoot down a UFO over a crowded area, well, then everybody's going to know you just shot down a UFO. And we just got done telling the American people there's no such thing as UFOs, so we can't do that. So what do? You try to control the situation. You try to control the flow of information as long as you can until the new guy gets in January, and you let it be his problem. And you let the Trump administration deal with it. And Biden's walking out the door, and maybe that's what we're seeing here. I don't know, but that's my...
Do you know how I knew that COVID was serious? And I remember the moment for myself. I was at work. I had a 9 to 5 at the time. And I saw a news flash come up saying that the English Premier League had been postponed for the rest of the season. And that's our soccer league. I was just like, okay, that's it. I'm going home. They've cancelled soccer.
Dude, I want to... let's take a second and drill down on this for just a moment, because I think this is... I don't want to get into an argument about what COVID was, like, or who's responsible for it, because I think that's just sidestepping the real issue here. But I think we can all agree that it was an enormous shitstorm. And when it happened and the whole world shut down, it was fucking weird. And I remember, like, the early days, sitting in the kitchen, watching on my laptop, these weird little clips. It's like, some weird thing in China. Yeah, it's like a weird, what's that little thing? It's like some weird villagers freaking out about people coming into their town. Cut to a few months later, you're standing in the middle of New York City and there's not a soul around. It's just completely silent. You look to your left, you look to your right, there's no one there. Everybody's gone. Fucking weird. You feel like you're on the set of a movie. Then I remember a few months after that, going to the store. And you're standing in line at the store. Everybody's got their mask on. Everybody's got 3 bottles of hand sanitizer. And over the intercom, I hear this robot voice going, "Please stand 6 feet away from the next person. Maintain distance." And I'm like, I'm in a John Carpenter movie right now. And I'm looking around and I'm like, we're all standing in this, a hardware store. Everybody's 6 feet apart. There's fucking tape on the floor. They had plastic shit up in front of the windows where you would talk to somebody. And everybody's got a... We were in a biohazard movie, Outbreak, with Dustin Hoffman and Cuba Gooding Jr. Who else was in Outbreak? But it started like this. And before you knew it, it was like the whole world had spun out of control. There was a hospital ship coming to New York City. They had freezer trucks. This has really happened. My wife's coworker looked out the window and they were loading bodies into freezer trucks, because they had run out of morgue space for all the dead people. That's how many people were dying in New York City when COVID first hit. It was terrifying. They were putting people in Central Park. They had no place to put all these dead people. And it was like panic time, and people were freaking out. That's the scale. That's the size of whatever this is. It's that fucking big. I'm convinced.
Yeah. You ain't got no arguments here, buddy.
Dude. I know I'm like,
There's
fired
no
up on this, but
the problem is, and this is something they could very easily avert, is this level of, like, you and me I'm just as convinced as you that there's something really serious happening here that we're not being told about. And the very simple remedy to the situation is to give the public some information. I refuse. I cannot believe for 1 second they haven't got some great infrared photography of this stuff. Absolutely not. If it's a plane, if it's a drone, if it's just an SUV sized plane that's flying around with a battery, fair dues. We're not going to lose our shit over that. We're going to probably say, thanks for telling us, like, the bare minimum required so that we don't, go out and start hoarding toilet paper again. That's my worry, really, is just running out of toilet paper again.
They don't want to crash Wall Street. They don't want to fuck up this market.
Absolutely.
Right. That's what they don't want. At Christmas time, it's Christmas time, guys. Everybody is like, it's like money, money, money. They really don't want this to happen right now. That's the smell coming off of this is awful. It's awful. Because if that's the thing that keeps them from actually telling us, if it's something that's stupid at the end of the day, like, first of all, the fact that they're giving these answers at all, everybody needs to be fired. Fucking fire everybody. Clean house. Like, from top to bottom. I don't want to hear you can't figure out where they're coming from. Defense Department, like, that's not the answer. So come back with a better answer. Are you telling me that the entire military chain of command has no fucking answers on this? We're $1 trillion military machine. We're spending billions of dollars every month to support this massive infrastructure. What about all the shit that was put in place after 9/11? What about all of that stuff? They put fucking anti-aircraft weapons on tops of skyscrapers after 9/11. Like, the New York City Police Department is one of the largest standing armies in the world in terms of just massive amounts of people and resources and budget. Like, am I supposed to believe that the entire period from like 2001 to 2025, like that whole buildup where we spent billions of dollars on anti-terrorist everything, that whole Jack Bauer period where we lived through this like constant media blitz of like any second the terrorists are coming, they're gonna get you. We had fucking color alerts. We were on like orange alert all the fucking time or whatever it was. It's like any minute some terrorist attack is gonna happen. They constantly were telling us and drilling it into our heads. If you go into the subway in New York, if you see something, say something. All over the stickers and posters. If you see something, say something. Report it. Do you see a strange bag? Do you see a weird box? Do you see somebody that's just acting a little different? Well, are you kidding me?
There's a good logical argument here that just in my mind proves that you, as the American people, are just straight up being lied to in some capacity. So the US government is the highest funded military in the world by some margin, and by all accounts the most technologically advanced. So you have the best technology to be able to get these whatever these things are caught on radar, to find out where they're going after they've been here. Infrared, like heat signature style stuff. And what they're saying to you at the moment in an official capacity is that they can't even really show you a photo of something that they've taken. All we've seen so far is what the public has taken on their iPhones. And are we supposed to believe that the government or the military have not taken a single photo of any of, and by all accounts, and I'm not in America, I don't know, it looks like there are hundreds. It looks like you're being swarmed over there. Like, it feels like everyone's having a party if they look up at the moment in the States. So the fact that everyone in the public can take a photo of all of this stuff and take video, and I've seen some amazing videos over the last week, some of which I've really struggled to explain with my own head unless it's like ball lightning and stuff. But the fact that the US military comes out and the Pentagon comes out saying, we don't know what these things are. You know what they could do is just say, but we took some photos because we're trying to be transparent. We don't know what they are, but we've got some fucking good cameras. So we've taken some photos of these things. Here they are. And we've not seen a single photo as far as I'm concerned. As far as I'm aware, we've not seen anything. So what the hell are we supposed to think?
I don't buy that they can't tell what they are. I don't believe that they can't see where they're coming from or where they're going to. I think that they have constant 24/7, 365 satellite situational domain awareness of every aspect of what's going on in the air, all the way. Dude, the fucking radar operators can see flocks of birds, man. Like, they can see everything. And there's enough overlapping layers of security, technology, and surveillance systems. There's no way. There's no way. So
I think that's the phrase. It's "there's no way." That's the catchphrase for tonight. There's no fucking way.
I see people in the
That's
chat
it.
saying submarine launched drone systems, and I'm not against that idea either. I think that's possible. But if you believe a submarine is off the United States coast of the northeastern United States, launching drones, and they're flying above our cities, I'll concede to you that's possible. That could happen, but you'd have to believe that the United States Navy can't do anything about that. That's not going to happen. There's no way. There's no way. If there was a ship or a submarine that close to the American coast launching drones, it would be vaporized, like no question. And then if that were true, and maybe they were able to do it, maybe they got some kind of stealthy super sub parked somewhere and they surface, they launch a few of these drones, they come out, they do their thing, and then they leave. Why are they blinking? Why do they have bright blinking light? That doesn't make any sense. It defeats everything else they're trying to do. If you entertain that notion. So that doesn't make any sense to me either. And I don't know. Are we ready to say it's that only leaves aliens? Or is that Ross Coulthard seems like he's ready to go there.
He does seem like he's ready to go there.
He's kind of standing in the door, like jingling his keys, like,
Yeah.
You guys want to go see what this really is? I'm going to show you. Like, let's go get in the car.
I think the next. I just want one more Christmas. I'll take one more Christmas as like a normal Christmas. I got a 2-year-old daughter. She's going to really enjoy Christmas this year.
This is shaping up to be the weirdest Christmas ever.
Yeah. But yeah, hopefully Christmas can still happen, and then I don't know.
Yeah, man.
It's going to be exciting. It's going to be
Every
exciting.
Christmas, they go on the news and they're like, we're tracking Santa's sleigh. We've got it. NORAD is tracking Santa. He's coming across. He's going to be delivering toys to all the girls and boys. Okay, you can track Santa's sleigh. Okay, NORAD. What's up with these drones then? They're blinking. Like,
Beats me.
I want to take this opportunity to mention something to the night shift community, something that we've been talking about internally, and that our mod squad, which, by the way, I didn't shout out our mod squad today. Brett and Chris, thank you for being our super mod squad and making sure that our community plays safe and stays colors inside the lines. I think we are going to try to leverage the Team Night Shift community. And one thing that we've talked about doing is forming a group on the Discord server of people that are experts in photography, astrophotography, drones, night vision. If you're an engineer, if you're an optical engineer, if you're a drone expert, if you are a camera expert, if you have expertise in imaging technology, I'm not talking about go outside with your cell phone and like get a grainy video. I'm talking about people with real gear. Like if you're a hunter and you use night vision, if you've got thermal cameras and you know how to use them, and you can go out on the rooftop of your building and you can look up and see with what you have a better picture of what's going on, then we want to know. So I want to create that group. And if you're on our Discord and you can get involved and you want to be involved, reach out to our mod team and they can help you get organized. We're looking for another group of people that has military and intelligence background that can analyze some of this data and hopefully give us some educated information on what exactly it is that we're looking at. Since we are a community largely of amateurs, but we do have expertise in our community, we want to leverage that. So please reach out to our mod team on the Discord server and we'll get you sorted. Brett is organizing that with Chris, and we're trying to get those things in place so that when we do these live streams, we can actually call upon you guys to help us get some real information from our own team, from our own sources. So anyway, that's just a PSA I wanted to throw out there. Okay, guys. It's that time. My little one is banging at the door like the Kool-Aid man. He's going to bust in here and shut me down. So thank you all for watching. Thank you for being a part of Team Night Shift. If you're not already a subscriber, please consider subscribing. It doesn't cost anything. It only takes a second, and it really does help us out. And if you want to support the show, you can do that by becoming a member. You can buy a piece of merch from teamnightshift.com and go on the link that we put at the top of the show and get ready for the drop of Xander's album, Night Shift. A Xander Jones Experience, music from the hit series, Volume 1, which drops next week. We'll see you on the next one. Until then, keep looking up.